taught Gris when he was in 3rd grade and 4th grade. I always told him back then he had a very special talent and that he was going to go far. And I remember telling him, I don't know if he remembers, but I remember telling him that one day his name was going to be on the big screen and I was going to see it. And I am so pleased that I get to see that happen. I'm so proud and I'm so thankful that our community has been blessed with the talents of Gris, and for now I'd just like to welcome Gris Grimly. Gris, you want us to bowl tickets or not? You want to hold up the poster? Let me grab it. They didn't get it to me.
All right.
All right, well, Gris, you want to hold up the poster that they're going to win?
Yeah.
We're getting the tickets.
All right. So the first prize we're going to give away. We got lots of prizes. This is Pinocchio poster, the blue version. Okay. Everyone who came is going to get a poster at the end of the movie, but it's the yellow version. We only have a few of these to give out.
All right, the lucky winner, let me get the spotlight, is 780-6855. 6855. We'll get the house lights on there in just a minute. 6855. 780, I think that's everybody. 6855. Any winners?
I have no tickets.
Last call, 780-6855. Anyone can check yours?
I have no tickets.
Okay, I'll go again. 780-6807. 6807.
Back there? All right, come on up.
There we go.
And one more?
Sure.
We'll do one more. 780-6713. 6713. Oh, we got a winner? All right. Awesome. And now there's 2 seats in here. Is there anyone still looking for seats? There's 2 seats up here. There's 3 over here. There's 1 here. All right. All right, sorry, Gris.
We're good?
We're good.
All right. All right, let's see what we got here. I know I see some familiar faces. I'm sure West Point is representing. Yeah. It's my hometown where I grew up. Is any of the Sankson clan here? Okay, my dad. What about the Carlson clan? Okay. Security, keep an eye on them. Anyone come from out of state? Okay. Where did you come from? Iowa. Eastern Iowa or Western Iowa? Central. And I saw some other hands. Where'd you come from? Colorado. How many miles is that? 500. Just for this? Can anybody travel farther than in Colorado? Farther than 500 miles? Some people needed a flight to come here soon. But I'm glad you're here. Is Colorado the farthest?
San Diego.
San Diego. You came here from San Diego for this?
Well.
I got you on spot, dog.
I do appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
I have a prize for you. This is a painting I did. Guillermo commissioned me to do this painting for the Museum of Modern Art in New York. This print was only available at the museum if you attended the show. So that's the only way to get it is at the museum. But I want to give you. I
got a boundary there.
You got something else? All right, I'll let you draw, so there's no nepotism or anything. All right, let's do 7806771. Okay. So this is a poster of that same image that's available from MoMA. You can get it online, but it's still a very cool poster to have. So, yeah, and I want to thank all of you guys for coming, being together in this historical building. Like I said, this is my hometown, so there's no better place for me to do this presentation and present the film rather than here on the grounds that I grew up in. All right, let's put lights and start this thing. I can give you guys more prizes later, so. Okay. All right, so I grew up here. Graduated, I went to college at Seward, and after graduating, I woke up one morning and said I'm going to move to California and try to start a career as an artist, and so I did that. This is not my first book. My first book is Monster Museum, came out in 2001. And shortly after that, I got asked from Tor if I would do the cover for Pinocchio. They were just going to release a mass market paperback of Pinocchio, public domain, and they were just going to slap a cover on it and make some money on it. And I read the book, and I was so I felt such kinship to the literature. into a character that I felt that the book needed to be more than that. So I reached out to them and I said, how do you guys feel about me illustrating the whole book? I feel like this book should be told in like the classic Alice in Wonderland or The Wizard of Oz. And he said, well, we don't really have much money in the budget for it, but you can do that if you want. And I said, okay, I will. So they didn't pay me much more money, but I did illustrations for the interior and on the cover. They were so happy with how it all turned out that they decided to release the book as a hardcover with a cloth bound embossing on the cover. They used a sepia ink, and it's a very beautiful edition. That edition is sold out, and it has been for a while now. But so shortly, all right. So you're asked to illustrate Pinocchio. How do you go from what we all know to this version of Pinocchio? Some people think that illustrating classics or public domain literature is low-hanging fruit, and I always see it as an opportunity and a challenge. And you guys still hear me? Yeah. Because everyone already knows what Pinocchio is. They have a preconceived idea of what Pinocchio looks like. So it's challenging to be able to reconstruct that. And that's what I did with this book. These are the very first illustrations of Pinocchio that I ever did, first sketches and doodles. And the way I work is more out of the heart than from the head. I don't really try to focus on anatomy or how good the piece is. It's just I kind of just let my hand move and go where it wants to go. And these crude sketches is a good example of that. And you end up with something like this. And I didn't know where to put this slide because this didn't come to me until after seeing the movie. But it all kind of, after seeing the movie, it all kind of dawned on me what Pinocchio represents there. And what you see here is a naked wooden boy. And we think that when you're naked, a lot of us think of vulnerability. And so not actually the way it was thought of a long time ago. Ancient warriors used to go into battle naked or mostly naked. The Native Americans went into battle in their beach cloth, and they felt that it didn't restrict them, and they had enough confidence in their abilities to defeat the enemy. The same with the Celts and the Germanic tribes. Sometimes they would wear furs of animals, but everything else would be naked. And with the Roman gladiators, fought almost naked. So you have to ask yourself, what does it take to be able to go out into the world exposed like that? And what it takes is a lot of confidence. You need to be very sure of who you are and you be very sure of your abilities. So a quote from the back of the book, The Naked Warrior: the greater a man's skill, the more he achieves with less. And like I said, I don't want to get into it too much because some of you might not have seen the movie yet, but I want you to think about this when you watch the movie. Is Pinocchio, is he passive, or is he confident in who he is? Another question to ask is, does the world around him change Pinocchio, or does Pinocchio change the world? And I think we're going to see this naked wooden boy completely in a completely different light. So the book came out, These are some illustrations from that book. But it's very important to see this because you're going to see an evolution of the character and how it went from this point to what you see on the screen. Some more illustrations from the book. We're going to get past the book. We have a lot to talk about. The book will kind of need to come out yet, and I was approached by independent toy companies who wanted to work with me. But they didn't quite know what we wanted to do, and I suggested, why don't we do a sculpture for my Pinocchio book, which is going to be coming out in 2003. So I teamed up with this company, Gris, who was at the time there working out of their garage. I spent some time there, and this was the first time that I realized the Pinocchio figure in the three-dimensional form. You know, every time before that, I saw him in 2D on a piece of paper, and in my head, it's three-dimensional. Because when I'm drawing these characters, you see them move, and you see them, you see their motion, their behavior, which is another amazing thing about this film, was to be able to see Pinocchio move. And even though I wasn't the animator, I wasn't the director, he moves exactly the way he moves in my head when I drew him. So I'm working with this company, and I see this three-dimensional Pinocchio, and I thought, this would make a good stop-motion movie. This figure walking around, the same as like Nightmare Before Christmas, would be amazing. And I started to conceive in my head a way to make this into a movie. I did those drawings and sketches of scenes, and started to make a list of directors that I wanted to approach. And the top director on my list was Guillermo del Toro, because I knew that Guillermo was fascinated by the story of Frankenstein and Pinocchio, and he had a fascination for puppets, and he was a collector, and he just seemed perfect. And at the time the book had just come out, there was a gallery in the Valley of Los Angeles that was showing the art from Pinocchio. And I get a call from the curator of the gallery, Mike Benny, and he said, Gris, you're not going to believe this, but Guillermo del Toro came in here and he just bought a piece of your Pinocchio art. And I said, you got to be kidding. Can you give me a meeting with this man? And so he made a phone call. He got me a lunch meeting with Guillermo. And that's where it all started. So I take in this manila envelope folder, that's all I had. This is the same folder. It's all kind of, nothing professional at all, but that's kind of my, that's what I'm known for. I opened it up and there's some character designs, but other than that, there's not much more than this. So I know some of you out there are doubting you're an artist. Sometimes you can doubt your ability. You can say, oh, I'm not good enough. I mean, look at this. I think most of you guys can do this. And probably a lot more. But it was the idea of, it's concept. It's the ideas. It's Pinocchio walking past a tank in World War I. It's these walls that have been blown away by bombs. And, you got this little image of Pinocchio crossing this bridge, and he's wandering. He's going on his hero's journey. And you have the circus above, and the cat and fox hanging Pinocchio from a tree. These are all just ideas that I had that I threw down on a piece of paper, and I presented them to Guillermo. And after I did this, I said, okay, Guillermo, what do you think? Would you direct this? And he said, no. He said, I'm not going to direct it. I think you should direct it, but I will produce it. Yeah. And I presented a timeline here to help you guys understand this. 2003, the book came out. I met with Jeremiah around 2003. I'm not going to see any hands out there, but I'm sure there's some people out there that are 20 years or younger, right? I worked on this movie before you were born, okay? It's crazy to think about. Shortly after that, I get a call from my manager. I switched management companies. The manager is someone who kind of oversees your career, helps you get through the doors of things. They go, hey, what do you think about doing something like this? And my manager left the management business and started to be a producer at Jim Henson Studios. And I get a call from him, and I go into his studio, into his office, and he holds up Pinocchio and he says, "You ever thought about making this into a movie?" I said, "You gotta be kidding." I just met with Guillermo about it, and he's interested in producing it. And they were like, "Great, let's go from here." So at that point, Jim Henson Company is involved. I started to do some designs that are a little different from what they are in the book. I'm not extremely proud of some of these early pieces, but I think it's important for you to see them because you're going to see the evolution of the artwork. And again, how everything for film is really about ideas. Just get the ideas out there. So these are some Pinocchio and the cricket. And here's some Pinocchio and the cricket. In the book, the cricket is squashed and dies and comes back as a ghost, which is why he's a white cricket there. These were my designs for, at the time period, for Geppetto, moving him away from what he is in the book to something different. Mangiafuku, who is the main antagonist, the main villain in the book. Actually, let me rephrase that. The book was periodical, so the way it was released was every chapter came out in like a newspaper. So every story has its own climax and resolution. So Mangiafuku in the book is not the main bad guy, but we're familiar with the Walt Disney movie, and he is the main bad guy in that. So we were kind of running with that, making him our villain. And then we have some other villains, some sidekicks, like the fox and the cat. Their names are Volpe and Gatto, Italian, the fox and cat. In the book, there's a character who's the Blue Fairy, which we all have an idea what that looks like from the Disney version. But in the book, sometimes she's a Blue Fairy and sometimes she's a dead girl. I wanted to focus on making her a dead girl, and which is even different than how I portrayed her in the book. So I made her look a little corpse-ish like. And so while I've been working on these ideas, this is very independent at the point. No one's getting paid, and it's how you work. It's very entrepreneurship where you come up with the idea, you work for it, and you hope and you sell it. Around 2009, the French company Pathé came on board, and they gave us some money, development money, to do some development work on it, and that was very helpful. What that did was we were able to get a studio on the Jim Henson lot. We got to hire a writer to work on a script, and we went to visit McKinnon and Saunders, which is a company in Manchester over in Europe. McKinnon and Saunders did the puppets for The Corpse Bride, and Frankenweenie, Fantastic Mr. Fox. And they are probably the best in the business. And We went over there and talked to them about coming on board, and they were completely on board with that. So that's what Cafe did. They got us this space to develop and create. So now we're in the studio. I have an office space now, and I'm still doing very primordial illustrations that most of you can probably do. And just like I said, it's ideas. It's anything to get writers excited and to move the story along. I took this early sketch that I showed Guillermo of Pinocchio walking past the tank and elaborated on it a little more. Here's a sketch of the tree, the pine tree that Pinocchio was carved from, growing from the coffin of the boy Carlos. Now, what's happening now is I'm director on this project, so I'm not necessarily doing all the artwork. What I'm going to show you is some of the designs, the rough designs I did, and then there's also some designs from different artists. There's an artist, his name is Louis, who is a good friend and incredible artist. I learned so much from him. And he's worked with me on a lot of projects. And he did some of this along with other artists that were working. I was working with 6 different artists at the time period. The black and white illustrations are some rough drawings of mine, and then we did this beautiful colored version here. Some more rough drawings. I wanted to play around with how insane can we go? How abstract can we get? And the ideas of like, okay, so he's a wooden boy. What happens if he's still, his hands and his feet still produce roots that went around him? Or what happens if he gets angry? Does his hair start to grow? These are the kind of things you do just to see where it'll go. This is a drawing of a design of Geppetto that we did on the left, and another artist, Roscon, did the black and white designs. There's this artist in Spain that worked on this. He did the image in the left corner, and this is a black and white image that I did on the right. For this year, this was piecing, figuring out how to create a maquette for McKinnon and Saunders to sculpt. Now, a maquette is a sculpture, it's this one, that you use to try to sell the movie. So it helps buyers to be able to visualize what you're trying to sell. So McKinnon and Saunders came on board and they sculpted this. They gifted this one to me, and this will be on the stage after the movie. You will be able to come up and take a look at this. It's very fragile. So I do want to say that the puppets that are up there, please do not touch. And kids, you have a big job. I want you to make sure your parents don't touch them. Okay? Because they often are harder taking direction than kids. So I've always seen Pinocchio as a Frankenstein story, and I know that Guillermo did too. And I think that's why this partnership works so well, because even in the book, the far left illustration comes from a page in the book, and Geppetto is building this creature, but the book that he's looking at says the wooden Prometheus. And if you're familiar with Frankenstein, you know that the second title for that novel is The Modern Prometheus. So it's kind of a little nod to my inspiration there. And so that idea continued throughout the developing for the movie, was making Geppetto this kind of, almost like a mad scientist that's creating this bizarre creature. And you'll see bottles on the table of grappa. Grappa is a wine, Italian wine. Guillermo asked me why did Pinocchio look the way he did, and I said because Geppetto was drunk when he carved him. Here's an image, a great image an artist did that was on the team of Geppetto carving Pinocchio. And another nod towards Frankenstein. There's a great scene in the James Whale film Frankenstein, the black and white one, where the creature notices light coming from the window, and he's reaching up, trying to grab it. And I love that imagery. And so Pinocchio, being just born, is going to have that kind of fascination for the light, which I think has a lot of symbolic meaning to it as well. These are some cricket designs that I did. Like I said, the cricket dies in the book, and that was an idea that we were playing with in the film, where in the very beginning the cricket is squashed, comes back as a dead cricket, and he continues to decompose throughout the film and starts losing body parts and stuff. And here's some more images of the cricket, and the far, I guess it's the far right. This is an image that we did. I kind of started to base the idea of the character of the cricket from Larry David. If any of you guys are familiar with Larry David, he wrote Seinfeld, and he had his own show, Curb Your Enthusiasm. But to have this like kind of frumpy, kind of baldish cricket that's complained a lot. Okay, so something that Guillermo told me often, and I don't, it's not in quotes because I'm not exactly sure how he said it, so I'm paraphrasing, but he told me, if you make the world real, then Pinocchio truly becomes an anomaly. And it's something that he felt that I really wanted this world very fantastical. You have a talking cat and a talking fox, and they're wearing clothes, and you have all these weird creatures. And I'm a creature guy, and I love to design that kind of stuff. And he kept telling me this, and he really felt that we needed to make the world real. And one of those things was Volpe and Gato, the cat and fox. And I'm not going to say I fought with him, but I really really wanted him to see my way of keeping those characters as creatures. But it came around. Guillermo was a brilliant filmmaker, and I should have understood that at the very beginning. And he was right. So I started to design the fox and the cat as humans that look like fox and cat. So these are the very first designs, changing them and making them into humans. On the far left is Gato, and the right we have Volpe. And I continued those designs. Here's Volpe, looking a little more fox-like, and the kind of representing fox ears with his hair. And the image on the far Udi's piece of art based on some of these ideas that I had of turning Volpe into this almost aristocratic type character, or at least he thinks he's an aristocrat. And here's some images of Gato, trying to make him very cat-like. And Gato, this character ended up getting cut from the film for the right reasons, but it was visually it's a great character. And he was kind of Volpe's sidekick. And I would actually look up images of animals. So I would look up like what does a cat look like when it's yawning, and I would draw Gato yawning like a cat. I would try to find the expressions of a cat. And I even played around for a short period with him being kind of an outlaw biker. Here's some images of Major Coco. The images on the left of mine, who did this image on the right. And he was kind of based on a character that was working with us, named Simon. And again, this character is cut from the film as well. Not visually, but from his role, because this was a choice that Guillermo made later on. But you will see this character in the circus. He's the strong man. And he has a sidekick. He had a sidekick, which was a spider monkey. The spider monkey is still in it, but he is now Volpe's sidekick. These are some early designs of the monkey. To the left are some images that I did, and to the right are images that Hui did, where he ended up becoming the albino-looking monkey that you see in the film. These are some buildings that I created for it. It took place in between World War I and World War II, so I wanted the landscape to represent that the war had already come through there, and that some of these buildings were broken up and had been bombed, falling over, or holes blown through the middle of them, and it now becomes also a road you can go through that. This is some sketches of a building that I did. The ones on the left I did, another artist that we created on the right. Another artist did this that was working on our team. Volpe and Gato in front of the red rockfish inn. Off to the far left is a little doodle I did of Pinocchio with his nose growing. It didn't just sort of grow straight like you see in the Disney version, but it starts to branch out. And other artists did their versions of this. Here's an image of Volpe and Gato hanging Pinocchio. And some designs of some puppets. With it being during the rise of fascism in Italy, the puppets are fascists themselves. An image of Pinocchio on stage. On the far left, you'll see a little drawing I did of Pinocchio going over his cliff with the monkey, and off to the right, we have an artist version of that. The dogfish, this is a character that in the bottom is some designs I did. I saw this footage of this, they called it a prehistoric shark, and it was just incredible. And it looked like it was a corpse shark, and I used that as reference for this. And some scenes of Pinocchio and Geppetto visiting the grave of Carlos. And this ended my period working in development at the Hinson. And it was time for us to go out and sell the movie. This was in 2010. And we went out and we pitched it to every studio, every main studio. And we waited. And it was 2011 now. And they were there for a while. And we thought it was going to get picked up, but it didn't. All the studios backed out. And I had a conversation with Guillermo, and I said, okay, what now? And he said, well, We can either shelve it and no one sees it, or you can pass it over to me and I can see what I can do with it. I said, well, let's do that. And so, pass it on to Guillermo. And years went by. This was developed, they call it development hell. And because, it took this long to get this movie made. We have here, just to give you an idea, 2010, I'm working at the Hinson line, that's when Kevin Saunders came and developed this Pinocchio sculpture. And then in 2012, Shadow Machine, which is a stop motion company that worked on a lot of Cartoon Network stuff like Robot Chicken, and they came on board and to take on the task of animating this movie. And it went through this whole period in development until 2018 when Netflix decided that they were going to buy it. And there's a whole story there that I wasn't super involved with, so I'm not up here to tell you that. But it was a headache for them trying to get this made. In 2022, in the spring, I get a call from Guillermo saying he wanted to fly me out to Portland to see the process, see all the sets and everything. And McKinnon and Saunders did the figures, the puppets. These are actually the puppets that were used in the movie. I'll do a little demonstration for you with these. As you can see here, this is an actual set that they were working on. The green screen, you can see in the back, that'll all drop off after they make it, and then they use the computers to put in the background. You can see the lighting and the monitor in the background that they're looking at. I think in this one you can see, if you look at the monitor, what you have there in the bottom left corner is one of the animators. The animators play actors in a way. And what they would do is they would film themselves playing this role, and then they would play that while they're animating so that they can try to match the same expressions and movements. This is one of the sets, a cathedral, and I just wanted to kind of show you the scope of this. If this is the size of your puppet, and this is a man, then for it to be a large cathedral, you can just imagine how big that building is. I mean, it's a set, but I kind of stuck my head in there and took a picture because it's beautiful. All the work the artists do to build this stuff is incredible. Off to the left, you'll see some of the designs. Just had a walking Pinocchio out of the church with the unfinished crucifix on the wall. Here's a scene from the circus, and you can see the little tape on the ground where they can mark for the puppet. It's going to go down on the ground. And to animate these, I'll show you a illustration of Pinocchio. It took them, I believe, 2 or 2.5 years to do all the animation for this. And this is why. Let's say you're going to do 1 second of animation. You need to move this figure 24 times just to get 1 second of animation. So what they do is they move the figure a little bit, and they take a photo. They move it a little bit, they'll take a photo. They'll move the figure a little bit, take a photo. Now, I'm just doing that with his arm. Now imagine if he's talking, you have to replace the face with different mouth movements while you're doing the hand. If he's walking, you're moving his legs, you're moving the placement of the figure, you're moving probably both arms, you're moving the head. And then that's only one figure. Imagine if there's 5 figures on screen, you're animating all of those characters that many times. So you can understand why it took so long. They had, I believe, 60 sets running at a time. So when I went to visit it was like a hallway with little like tents. They had black curtains that would make little rooms. And you go in, you peek in each curtain, and there would be a set, and there would be an animator working on that set. Here's a scene from the movie. You can see the green screen kind of support bars there, and they would hook these stop motion puppets on these bars, and that would move, and then they could remove that green screen, just take that right out of there with the computers. There's a scene where we get, you see the green screen in the background. Again, they take that green out and then they put it in the background. This is a Guillermo quote. I'm quoting him because he says this is something that is the belief system of Garo Miyazaki, who is a Japanese animator. And I've heard him say this at every presentation of Pinocchio, so I thought it was important. It's important to him, so it's important for me to pass it on to you. If you animate the ordinary, it will be extraordinary. What does he mean by that? If you're shooting live action, there's certain things that happen. The actor will mess up and say the wrong thing, and it becomes funnier than the script that they wrote. They'll leave it in there. Or if an actor is walking and he slips, and it's the perfect timing, and it becomes a funny scene, they'll leave it in there. And you can do that in live action because people make mistakes. But when you're animating a movie, you don't make those mistakes unless you make them on purpose. So he was very adamant on making these purposeful mistakes. And I want you to look at those in the movie, like if it's Geppetto walking through balloons, he hits a balloon and the string wraps around him and gets tangled up. That's, in live action, that's an accident, but they had to plan it. And too many times you'll see an animation where they don't do that. They animate exactly what they need to, and it makes it a little lifeless. The movie came out in 2022, and in 2023, it won many awards. And in 2023, it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. Deservingly so. All the artists and the director, Guillermo, and his co-director, Mark Gustafson, did an incredible job on this film. And the first time I got to see it was just incredible and mind-blowing, and something I'm so proud of being a part of. And it is coming out on Blu-ray at the end of this year in December. So we can all have it in our personal collection if you're into that thing. I'm going to speak with one more quote from Guillermo. Another thing that he would say at every presentation, which is animation is cinema. Animation is not a genre for kids. It's a medium. And I think all of you guys understand that because you're here. But there's a lot of people in America that don't realize that animation doesn't mean it's a kiddie movie that you can't go to because you're not a kid. It's just another tool to tell a story. And it can be, there's adult animation out there, there's animation geared for teens, there's R-rated animation. This is appropriate for all ages, but his whole point is we got to start seeing it as a work of art and not something that put the kids in front of and walk away. I believe that's all I really want to talk about right now. We are going to give out more prizes and giveaways. Guillermo is not, unfortunately Guillermo cannot be here. I tried. Yeah, I thought about one. did want to give you guys a message, and that message is here. And I'm going to hand it over to the maestro himself to present the movie.
I'm Guillermo del Toro, and I'm here to introduce this version of Pinocchio, which wouldn't exist without Gris Grimly. I co-directed with Mark Gustafson and co-wrote with Patrick McHale. But the partnership and the kinship with Gris is what gets this going over 20 years ago, or around 20 years ago. We met in the early 2000s, and this film went through two entire incarnations, two different screenplays. But Gris's design for Pinocchio was always the key. I think that is a unique talent, and you are very lucky to have him as an adopted. Please cherish him, enjoy this film, and I wish I was there, but alas, I'm not. I wish you the best.
I work from the heart more than the head. And if I work from the heart, it comes pretty easily. I just let my hand move and it comes. If I'm in my head too much and I'm trying to capture something, that's when I struggle. Yeah.
Why did you pick the rabbit like
Something about a rabbit. A little louder.
Why did you pick the rabbit so like the
The rabbits are actually in the book as that they come to Pinocchio to take him away when they believe he's dead. So that just carries in on from the book. Okay. Anything else?
What are you working on today?
What's that?
What are you working on today?
Well, I have a book that's Frankenstein adaptation, and I've been working with some production companies trying to get that made into a series. And as we see with Pinocchio, it can take many years, but that's been announced, so I can say it. There's a lot of things I'm working on I can't talk about. And I'm about to illustrate Phantom of the Opera. So I'm finishing up contracts with that. So that'll put me in the office for a couple of years. Right there.
When you do children's books, do you write your own story behind somebody else's story?
So if some of the books I've written, if it comes from someone else who wrote it, we don't really communicate. They get into a publishing house, and then that editor, that publishing house, they're the ones that seek out the illustrator. Sometimes I can get in communication with a writer, and they can recommend me to a publishing house. But it's really up to the publishers and who they want to put on the job. Anything else? Yes.
How do you manage the time to have fun and be part of working in
The entrepreneur side, the business side? I would say that's where I kind of failed. I'm more of an artist than a businessman, so I would say I don't balance that very well. I'm very much in my head with or on the side of being a creative, more so than getting it sold and running the business. I saw someone. Yes.
The first lady just read a book that you wrote and illustrated. Did you know she was going to do that for Halloween?
I did not. So my agent sent me a photo and he said, "Did you know about this?" And I said, "No." That's cool. It became more difficult after I had kids. That hasn't changed. But moving out here, all of our meetings, all of our pitches are through Zoom, so I don't even have to travel for it. It's like, all the publishers I work with were all in New York, and I was living in Los Angeles, so it's not even, I couldn't be farther away than that. So that hasn't changed with technology. No, so the way that works is on-site producers get an Oscar. So you can be a producer, but if you're not running the floor, getting things done, what needs to be done, you don't walk away with a little trophy. The Oscars for the team, or the entire team, but the producers are the ones that got to take the trophy. So, am I missing anyone up there? Oh, over here. I'm not writing any books right now, just illustrating. Next, that's Braxton, right? Next to Braxton. Can someone repeat that? No? Okay, right there.
What year did you first start being an artist?
When I was born. I do want to say something about that. I believe that everyone is born an artist and everyone is born creative. What happens is that creativity is taken away from us with life. And like I said, you have to balance the creative side and the business side. And that business side comes in as soon as you're young, and your responsibilities and logic. And the more you give to that half, the less you have with the creative side. So it's all about balancing and to encourage the youth to continue to be creative. However that creativity is, if it's drawing, writing, building, just keep pushing that creativity, because that's not going to go away. It goes away when you stop doing it. What's that? Yes, I do. I listen to, right now I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks, and that's kind of a new thing for me. I used to listen to music all the time, from the moment I woke up to when I went to bed, and the music really dictated the style of art that I was doing. So there's a lot of dark goth punk music that I was listening to when I illustrated Frankenstein, and sometimes it's classical music, and so the music I listen to really does dictate what I'm drawing. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I know. I'm going to go back to something I read about 20 years ago. It's called Ishmael. And it's not something I listened to, audiobook, it was a book I read. And that book was, it changed me. And so that book was very important. I did read a book, it was called The Painted Bird by Jerzy Kosinski, and that book really inspired how Pinocchio and how it is to be a child in a very cruel world, because it's a story about a little Jewish boy who's wandering Eastern Europe shortly after the war. And so that was a book that was really impacted how I proceeded with Pinocchio. I think if that's it, let me say a couple more things. First of all, thank you everyone for coming out. It means so much that you're all here. We have Pinocchio posters, and for you to come up over here and get your free poster. But Netflix also sent me Spanish versions, and Guillermo is very proud of his roots, and I thought it was really cool that we could have some Spanish versions. So anybody wants to take on the Spanish version, you just have to tell whoever's helping up here that that's what you want. I think that's it. I will be here. I look forward to meeting all of you and signing books and signing posters for you. And again, thank you for coming. Thank you to the West Point Community Theater for hosting this. And it's been a great time. Hold on, I have a bunch of prizes to give away. I keep forgetting to give away stuff. Here, I'm going to have you draw again. Oh yeah, if you just want the poster, line up over there. If you want to look at the merch, come over here. And take the time, look at the artwork. All right, let's give a blue poster away. 7806745. 6745. All right. Okay. 7806866. 6866. Right there? And please feel free to look at the artwork. You know? There you go. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I think so. Oh, there we go. 7806944. For real? All right. 7806773. All right, you know what? We're gonna make this a little exciting. Who has who already saw Pinocchio?
No.
All right. Who has seen it more than 5 times? Okay. What do we got? 1, 2, 3. We're looking at 3. Who has seen it more than 6 times? Who has seen it more than 7 times? How about 10 times? All right. Is that it? 10? All right, why don't you come down and get this? Ten times. I think that's more than me. 7806782. 6782. Might have left. Let's hear some excitement. 6782. All right, come on down. Okay, we're going to mix it up again. This is very special because this is a first edition hardcover. Okay, these are out of print, and I think they go for a pretty penny online. All right, we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna play a game. 5 people are gonna do a quote from the movie. They're gonna come up on stage, and we're gonna vote on the best performance. Whose game? Come on, I mean, first edition of this book. It's worth it. First five. We got one. I think we're good. One more. All right, let's come on back here.
You can't go up there. You
All right,
hold it
you
there.
ready? You got it?
My battery turned to post today is not great.
All you gotta do is quote something from the movie, whatever line you can remember, and the audience is gonna vote on the best one. You need, this guy's got it, I can tell. Can't be as fast as you would.
These puppets, I know that.
These puppets anyway. On the spot. You got one? Okay, give her a minute.
Get out of my way, I'm driving here.
I don't know if I heard that in the movie. Oh, okay. Take a song. Big breath. Channel that energy. You got it?
I think I need context. It's the big fish.
All right, the dogfish.
The best thing that she can give is what she put into it.
Here's the baseline. All right, so here we go. Spazzatura. Mussolini. The New Yorker from another film. The dogfish. His name is Sebastian Cricket. Sebastian Cricket. Who got that? A monkey. All right, we'll keep this moving. Okay, let's go to the poster. 780-6770. This is the same image you already have. Alright. This is a sculpture that I made back in 2003, 2004. Okay. 6869. 6869. 6869. All right. All right. We got one more poster to give away. $6938. All right, so like I said, thank you for coming out, everyone. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you if you can stick around.